Number one is going to be, believe it or not, the zero gap bench. I find that there's some movement, which of course you can now take out by twisting our pin. Okay, but you can't just twist the pin. Once you're done twisting the pin, you might still get a tiny bit of movement. So the best way to actually make it completely secure so it doesn't move is by moving it back and forth and twisting as you're doing it. And now we have a fully solid piece. But the problem is, that's just a little bit extra for me. But if you don't do that, let's say you're doing some, I don't know, let's say you're doing some nice incline, and you want this bad boy here, go to sit down with your weights, little activation of the feet, little foot drive. You can see that tiny bit of movement. So you can't really just rely on that pop pin. You really do have to crank it down. And that, I just don't like that. Negative number two, she is heavy, very heavy. So that is definitely one thing that I know quite a few people have talked about. I mean, the way that it is set up, it's very, very, I would say it's not horrific to move around, but it's much worse than other benches. It's like what do you get? Like, if you want a bench that's built forever, that you're gonna have, that your kids are gonna probably end up using when you die, you want something heavy. So it's kind of a negative and a plus, because then that also means it's stable. So that's kind of a cheat negative, I'd say. Number three, probably the no expansion, no way to add any kind of leg curl. That's one thing that, back here we have our spot for our leg attachment, which is super nice, but they currently do not offer, I don't know what I'm doing, anything for leg curls. That'd be one nice addition if they were to add something like that. I do want to quickly go into some positives, not to be completely negative in this review. Number one, it is wildly stable. I mean, you can really, oh, I mean, I've been using this bench now for 7-8 months. It's the most stable bench I think I've ever used. Huge plus number two is knurling everywhere. We've got knurling down here on our ladder system. We've got knurling on our grip down here. Feels beautiful. Knurling on our pop pin that adjusts the seat. It's knurled up. One other thing that I absolutely love about this bench though is the very satisfying sounds it makes. And if you're wondering if you want to get this in a wide pad or a regular, I can tell you that for, I would say 90% of people, get the regular pad. For one reason and one reason only, and that is any wider that you go, in my opinion, since this is IPF, this is like standard for powerlifting, and I figured if they set records on this exact height width bench, that's for like everybody. I don't care how big you are, you still have to bench on a particular size width height bench. So it seems like a no-brainer to not get the one that is the standard. And any wider, I definitely would say you're probably going to start brushing elbows when you're doing pressing movements. So I would say get the regular version. The only other positive I could see with the wide version being if you do a lot of Nordic curls, but it just doesn't like I do way more pressing moves than I do anything else with, like, this is an attachment. This is not the main feature of the bench. Main feature of the bench is the bench, so we're gonna stick to whatever the bench does best. Overall, I think they absolutely crushed this design. What do you guys think?